Hello, everyone. Thanks for logging on to CBSColorado.com for a few extra minutes with Super Bowl 50 champion Tyler Polumbus. Does it ever get old to hear that? Because it never gets old to introduce you that way.
No, I take compliments well.
You know, it's good. Yeah, as you should. As you should. Speaking of compliments, Broncos getting a lot of compliments this offseason. You know, national media, everyone's kind of in on the Broncos. So how do you think they approach? Last year, a lot of people weren't sure. This year, they're going in, and people are expecting them to do well. Yeah. How do you think they deal with that, handle that?
Well, this is a small concern. In the big picture, I don't think it's a huge deal. But for Bo Nix in year 2, it does feel really settled. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm going to lean towards it being a great thing, meaning we've identified our guy. We don't have any drama. He can just settle in and do his deal. But there's also not a lot of competition in various spots on the team.
Yeah.
So in year 2, should we feel this settled? It almost feels weird. Like the way this roster is set up, there's only 2 or 3 positional battles. That almost feels like a Super Bowl type of roster, and that's certainly not what I would predict from this team.
Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. I guess I want to talk about some of those additions. Evan Engram. Yeah. Some people are really excited about it. Some people are saying, he's a little bit more of a wide receiver than a tight end. How do you think he plays into this offense?
Well, first off, I like Evan Engram a lot.
Yeah.
He's a very productive player. He's a proven player. He's been around the block for a long time. But he is small, and he does not look like a tight end.
Yeah.
Like, your number 1 wide receiver on this team, Cortland Sutton, dwarfs Evan Engram.
Yeah.
Both physically, like in stature and height and all of it. Evan Engram is a wide receiver that plays the tight end position. But, hey, the NFL, that's one of the easiest spots to create mismatches, and there's a reason why he's been successful.
When you look at it, you say there's just a few positional battles. What do you think going into camp are you most intrigued about?
Well, I'll be curious what happens at running back between J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. I think J.K. Dobbins will probably be the day 1 starter, but those are 2 really good running backs, and I'll be curious to see how that unfolds. You know, health at inside linebacker with Alex Singleton, what's going on there. But the big thing for me, it's just going to be keeping an eye on these free agent additions that we had, because they are all really talented football players. Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, Evan Engram. They're all really, really good football players, but can they stay healthy?
What is a player that you think has a chance to exceed expectations, overproduce this year?
That's a great question. I'll give you a guy that I hope it is. I'm not sure that I necessarily believe it will be, but I hope Marvin Mims takes the next step.
All right on.
Because the Broncos did not add to their wide receiver room at all. And Marvin Mims took a big step last year. Sean Payton got creative with the way he was using him. But they really need him to take a step even further from what he did last year.
Last one, and we'll get you out of here. Sean Payton was talking about the offensive line back in OTAs, and he kind of said their attitude permeates the team. Like, it starts with them. As a former offensive lineman, can you kind of speak to that, like what he was talking about?
I do think all great football teams take the identity of their offensive line. And so you got to hope you got a good group. And I think the Broncos do have a good group. They've got a starting 5 that a lot of teams would covet. Now they're getting paid a lot of money, so they need to produce at a very high level. And the running game left plenty to be desired, and that was with the same 5 that was out there last year will be out there this year. So they need to take a step up, and that's a 2-part issue between the running backs and the offensive line. But I like that group, and I think they've got great leadership in that room.
I love it. Tyler, a pleasure as always. Thank you for taking the time. Guys, thanks for logging on. We'll see you next time.